everyone, my name is REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by the Plot and New vocalist Landon Tewers. For the past year or so, the band have been releasing a series of EPs as opposed to an album, so we discussed that approach to releasing music, the freedom and creativity that helps foster, unexpectedly going viral on TikTok, his work ethic as a producer, and loads more. But before we get into it, if you've enjoyed any episode of the podcast, then please consider taking a few seconds to support it. You can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're checking this out so you don't miss out on any future episodes. You can leave a review or a comment. You can go and give the podcast a follow on social media. And there is also a Patreon and there's a web store if you did want to go the extra mile. You can find all the links to everything that I've just mentioned in the description of this episode, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. Now that's all out of the way, here's my chat with Landon Tewers. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast, where I'm joined by Landon from The Plot and New. How's it going, man?
Very good. Yeah, just been enjoying some off time before things get crazy. So yeah, it's been nice.
Some rare off time for you, I think.
Yeah, we usually try to take summers off and not do much, but I got asked like earlier last year if I'd be down to do some overseas stuff with Dayseeker, and I was like, oh yeah, that'll be fine. And then summer rolls around. Now I feel like I've like barely gotten to be home at all between like producing stuff and doing that. So yeah, I'm trying to soak a month's worth of summertime things into August. So
just gotta keep moving, man. That's what it is. Yeah.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
The rain's not helping. I'm still stuck inside. So
yeah. Well, yeah, you guys have got a new EP on the way, Volume 3. Obviously, as the name indicates, the third installment in your like EP series that you've been doing recently. So that comes out on November 8th. How are you feeling about putting this one out compared to the other two? Because obviously the first two have been pretty successful for you guys. So I guess, how are you feeling about this next one coming out?
I'm really excited. This one's got some of my favorites, especially the next one that's about to come out is really, really special to me. What's been cool about these, though, is I've gotten to like, because they're so spaced out, I've just really gotten to put so much time just into such a small amount of songs, which for me, it makes it way more fun and like enjoyable because like I can do it in between tours at my leisure. I don't feel like a big like pressure time wise from the label or anything like that. Because normally, usually, I mean, they'll give you like a short chunk of time. They know when you're going to be on tour, when you're going to be able to write and stuff. So usually, you know, you'll have like a month or two to try to come up with 10 to 12 songs. And it's just like day in and day out. Just it becomes unenjoyable. You know what I mean? It starts to feel like a job. But none of these songs have felt anything like that. It's just been when I've felt inspired and like in the mood to do things. So, and it was cool. Like that was kind of like the whole idea behind it. And we tested the waters with Volume 1. Honestly, I don't know if we would have kept doing volumes had that not done well, but I had been pressing to do that for so long, and finally, like they gave me the freedom to do that, and thank God it worked out. So, so it's been awesome. I don't know if we're gonna like continue to do things this way. I'm assuming it probably won't be this way for every release moving forward, but at least for the time being, it's been so nice. And luckily, I mean, we finally upgraded to a bus just this year, in the States. And that's been nice being able to write on tour because that's almost never really been much of an option. It's just hard with people being around all the time, but we like delegated the back lounge just to like have a quiet space for people that want to work and stuff like that. So yeah, everything it's been good. The whole process of writing has just been so much better than usual. Yeah.
Well, I guess that kind of helps with, you know, it's the way that like music consumption's going nowadays, isn't it? Like, not to say that the album's dead, but it's less like of the prime way that people would consume music. You know, it's all about kind of singles and playlists and stuff. And I guess with the way that you're doing these singles now, you can kind of put full focus on songs, whereas with albums, unfortunately, you have some songs that just kind of get looked over unless you've got like the diehards. So
yeah, I mean, that was something I think I've noticed over the last couple of years, especially since COVID. A lot of bands were just doing the singles thing, you know, like Bring Me, Falling in Reverse was another one. I don't think they had put out a record in like 5 years or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Me personally, I know like a lot of people get pissed when I say this. I don't personally listen to albums that much anymore. Like I fall into that group. I get kind of bored listening to the same singer for an hour, especially in metalcore, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, Especially, metalcore tends to have like, I mean, like a rap album and stuff, they have like a lot of features and like different dynamic type things. But with metalcore, it's like, I don't know, it's a little bit different, at least to me. This is just my own observation. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was just like, I think for a band like us, it made sense to at least try it once, because why not?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it way more. Moving forward, like if we take off like a big chunk of time, like let's say we had like 6 months off, then maybe I'd be like, okay, I feel like that's enough time where I can make an album and put, space it out to where I don't feel like I'm just like beating myself into the ground. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. But as for right now, I think it's been pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the first single that came out that kind of, I guess, sparked the series was Divide, and that came out in 2022. So, it's been a couple of years that this has kind of been, drip fedded out.
Yeah.
So when did things expand from obviously the release of Divide to where I guess it was probably the success from that single. You kind of used that to pitch to the label like, hey, can we kind of just continue this for the foreseeable and just see how we get on?
Yeah, kind of. It was more so it started with Divide, Forgotten, and Left Behind.
Hmm.
Those were three songs that were all pretty much written somewhat within the same block of time. And I was like, let's see, like, can we at least try this idea of just putting these three out as singles? And if it goes well, maybe we can come back to the conversation of like pursuing this moving forward. And like I said, thankfully they did really well. Those are three of our biggest songs now.
Hmm.
So they were like, yeah, we can try that. So yeah, luckily, I mean, I give so much praise to our label for that too. Like, not many labels trust the bands to make calls like that and stuff, but we've developed such a really strong friendship and trust with everyone there. Like our A&R is one of my best friends. Not many bands and people in bands can say that about like the
Yeah.
people that they work that closely with. Like, we talk on the phone every day. Most of the time, it's not even about band stuff. So just having that trust and that like that relationship has been really good because it's never been the case for us in the past. Like, it's usually felt very corporate and just like all that bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been really sick. Just yeah, again, very grateful that they've allowed us to experiment and try different things because it definitely was a risky move. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that makes it far more enjoyable, doesn't it, when you actually are friends and actually like to spend time with the people that you work with. Like you say, it's less
yeah,
corporate, it's more, yeah, kind of fluid and stuff.
yeah. There's nothing I hate more than going to like a business dinner and just talking about numbers and shit. I just don't care. Like, let's just hang out. We don't need to do any of that.
Yeah.
Save it for the lame phone call we need to have every couple months. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're at dinner. Let's just bullshit.
Yeah. And spew
Yeah,
numbers at each other and stuff like that. Yeah.
exactly. They're just normal people that are all music lovers. They're not
Hmm.
like trying to do shitty moves to move to the top or anything. They just genuinely like music, and
Yeah.
I think it really shows with the bands that they work with. You know what I mean? I think they're a very rare label in the scene, at least
Yeah.
from my observation. Yeah.
Yeah. So from what you said there, then, like, you're not these songs that we're seeing across the three EPs, they weren't all done at one time and then slowly dropped out. You've kind of worked on a few songs, and then I guess based on how those songs have been perceived or what you're feeling the next time around, that's when you make another batch of songs. Is that how it went?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's been a couple times where it's been like, okay, like we definitely deadlines are coming up. Like, we at least need something, you know what I mean, to move forward. But for the most part, like, it's been pretty much just at my leisure whenever I kind of feel like it. And again, like I think I said, like, they know our touring schedule and stuff like that. They know when I'm gonna physically be able to do some of these things. But there's like a general kind of outline of an idea of like when we would ideally like to do things. But like, if deadlines don't get met, there's nobody that's gonna be screaming at me on the phone or anything like that. We've had to push a few things have had to move around, but it's not been anything like detrimental. And
Yeah.
again, that's like such an unheard of thing, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
no, it's awesome. Honestly, I don't think at this point I could deal with any other label on the planet. I don't think any other label could handle working with us.
Yeah.
So we bitch about everything.
You're made for each other.
Yeah, we're perfectly made for each other.
So I guess that must be like you must have so much freedom then, like because I guess you're doing like one EP and then not to say that kind of fans dictate entirely what you do, but it's something to be mindful of like how they react to certain music that you put
Yeah,
out. And
yeah,
go on, sorry.
that was actually something I meant to elaborate on when you asked that question. Yeah, actually, it has been kind of cool to see what has been working along the journey. Not that like I always get a little irritated when I hear bands say stuff like, I write music for me. It doesn't, I don't really care about what the fans think. It's like, first of all, you're full of shit. Like they're the ones like keeping you out here doing this stuff. Like if you don't care what they think at all, like that's to me that's kind of fucking lame.
Yeah.
I do care, but not to the extent of like I'm gonna let what people like shape exactly how I'm gonna do the next thing. But I do take it into consideration, like what the people that are paying my bills, what they what they
Yeah.
appreciate and what
You want
like.
to keep doing it, don't
And
you?
I mean, yeah, and honestly, I like what I obviously I wouldn't have written it in the first place if I didn't like it. So like if something clicks, I have no problem being like, okay, that worked. Like how can I expand on that? How can I do that in a way that's fresh to me? I don't feel like I'm cheating myself and also deliver something that is going to be impactful to other people. I don't think there's anything lame or sell out about that at all. I think that's
Yeah.
just being smart.
It's literally how any business works. Like, why would you not listen to you?
Exactly. Yeah, let's say you're a fast food chain and everybody's loving the whole menu, and then out of nowhere you're just like, well, this month I'm into this, so I'm just gonna change it. It's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
It makes no sense, but
Yeah.
yeah, whatever.
Well, I guess it also gives you the freedom, like, speaking about like the difference between this kind of rollout you're doing and a typical album is, I guess with an album, you've kind of got to think of this collection of 10 plus songs, and they've all got to be cohesive to a varying degree, right? Whereas on these EPs, you can have a song like, you know, uh, Left Behind and Closer against songs like Forgotten and Don't Look Away. Like you can have those alt
Yeah,
rock songs against those heavier songs, and it's not as jarring as maybe it would seem on a typical album.
yeah. I mean, that's another thing. I gotta give so much praise to like the fans of our band. Also, they don't seem to care really. Like, they're just they're cool. They at this point especially they know to expect either something like really heavy or really poppy, emotional, sad, and everything in between. Like they've just been really supportive of kind of every move along the way. I mean, they're obviously you're gonna have those few kids every now and then that are like, oh, where's the heavy stuff,
Yeah,
blah blah
be
blah.
heavy
But
again.
wait one song, it'll be back. Like, no, and that's fine. I really like that we kind of almost have two different fan bases at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely know we do have fans that really only mess with the super heavy stuff, and then we have other fans that really could not care less about the heavy stuff. They want this, like the catchy sing along, like more emotional type side of the band. And I think that's cool. Like, and I think we found a good balance even in between and stuff. But yeah, at the core of what I'm trying to say though is like, yeah, we really have just an awesome, diverse fan base that just kind of like they don't get freaked out when we explore something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's pretty cool and pretty rare. So
yeah,
they're awesome. We're
yeah,
lucky.
yeah. Well, I guess with these
Yeah.
EPs as well, 'cause you've had, I guess, the chance to hone in on those specific kind of sides of the band that you have. So I
Yeah.
guess that you can kind of focus on the more alt rock preferring fans or the metal and heavier preferring fans. Whereas I guess on albums, you kind of to a degree, you kind of got to blend them a bit more as opposed to just
Mhm.
focusing on the streamline into one kind of sound.
Yeah. And like, that's something with this EP that's been kind of fun for me. Like it's kind of hard for me to write songs that are like super middle of the road, like catchy for most of the song, then it drops into a heavy part breakdown out of nowhere just to remind you that we're a metalcore band. Like
Just for the
I
sake of
haven't
it.
yeah, I haven't felt any need to do any kind of stuff like that, which has been kind of fun. I kind of just pick a lane and just go down that 100%. Um and I think the guy that does all of our visuals has in a very creative way like made even the two like very polarizing different sounds kind of still mesh together thematically just through imagery and stuff like that, which is really cool. The whole thing just feels like a unit. But yeah, I mean it's been awesome knowing that really any type of sound we want to explore, we can find a way to still make it work in the context of like this body of work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been dope. And also like the guy that mixes our songs too, he's done such a good job of just the heavy to like the rocked and everything in between, just making it all feel like it's part of the same universe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
very much a group effort between us and a lot of other creative people, which has been incredible.
Yeah.
So
A great team behind you. Yeah.
dude, the stars have just aligned in the most perfect way. It's kind
Yeah.
of insane actually when I think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned
Yeah.
that the kind of visuals there, I guess, as well. You're not only putting full focus on songs and not having like these potential deep cuts that kind of get ignored. You can
Yeah.
really focus on the imagery and the visuals that you want to represent with the songs and the band as well.
Yeah, luckily with the imagery and stuff, this guy George, I always butcher his last name when I try to say it. He's this dude from Colombia,
Hmm.
and I don't remember how we found him. Somehow the label managed to find him somewhere, but we gave him a little bit of direction for like the first video, maybe first two, and then he like somewhat used what we said to do, but not really. But we ended up liking it way more than our stupid ideas. So moving past that, we're just like, dude, take the reins. Like I'll send him lyrics and kind of like a general concept of, what it means to me and stuff like that. But and then kind of just let him run wild with it. So yeah, it's nice to have a creative person in that department that just completely knows what they're doing. You don't ever have to second guess if they're going to get it or not. He just
Hmm.
delivers every single time, and it's incredible. Because none of us are like like movie director, visual people in that aspect at all. Like if we were to sit down and write the treatments for our videos, they'd look so stupid. So I'm glad. I'm glad we have our old drummer did all of our old videos like for Dispose and stuff like that. So he was that member of the band. Like that was his job. So we got so lucky that we found another person that could kind of like fill that role. And without us, he barely even having to give him any direction. He just kind of knew exactly what to do.
Yeah.
So
That's
very
exactly what you
lucky.
want.
Yeah.
Someone you can trust that, is kind of like an expert at their craft and you don't have to kind of feel like you've got to put your hands in it. Because I think sometimes
Yeah.
creatives do that in another creative field that they're not really experienced in.
Dude, I know that shit drives me crazy. Yeah, why hire someone if you already know they're an expert at that and you know that you're not? Why are you going to try to like, yeah, like you said, get your fingerprints all over it?
Yeah.
Just like let them do what they're good at doing. Like
Yeah.
it's going to turn out better in the long run. They're going to get to do what they feel inspired and excited to do. But if you're
Yeah.
diluting their vision, then it's yeah, why would you know what I mean? It just doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense to me. So yeah, we severely lucked out on that.
Well, even like if you go and get a tattoo, like you can give them an idea of what you want, but they say, "Oh, I think
I've
this will look
given
better." Right, you're the tattoo artist. I'm gonna let you do that then.
Dude,
Like,
I've literally given that exact same analogy before on this exact same conversation.
oh really?
Yeah, that's a perfect, yeah. Anytime I go into, especially the two most recent people I've had tattoo me, I go in with like the most basic idea, like general concept, and I just let them run wild with it. And I've never regretted it.
Yeah,
It's always turned out so much better. They're always so excited to do it.
yeah,
So yeah, I very much back
yeah. It's their
that
job.
mindset. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, at least for now, is Volume 3 going to be the end of the series, do you think? Or are you going to go like all Fast and Furious and we're going to see like 12 of them?
We're doing, I don't know if I'm supposed to say, but I don't care. We're doing one more after this.
Right.
So yeah, 4 volumes in total. Um, how we're still kind of like trying to find a way to piece it all together as far as like not necessarily making it like one album, I don't think. I think we're trying to find a more clever way to go about it. In terms of just like packaging something that like has everything within it, but you don't feel like you're getting ripped off by,
Yeah.
like if you bought each individual thing. Yeah, I don't know. We're trying to figure out something special and unique, but that's still in the process. But yeah, I mean, the fourth EP isn't even fully written yet. I'm like, I somehow got to try to figure that out within the next month or two, or something like
Yeah.
that. But I mean, that's the fun of it, though. It's just an ongoing project. We still don't even know how it's going to end in any capacity. So I don't know. It's so much more exciting that way, though, for me. Maybe it's just because I've been doing the same method for albums, for the last 15, 16 years. Doing anything different just feels nice. But yeah, no, it's been dope. Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very gracious.
Yeah. That's cool that it's still kind of
Yeah.
like gestating and evolving, I guess. Like even you don't know 100% what the end product's going to be. And,
Yeah.
I think, kind of repeating myself here, but this seems like the way that bands are kind of doing it nowadays. Like I can't remember what the album was called, but I think Acacia Strain did something similar where they put things out as
Hmm.
EPs, and then Void of Vision did one a couple of years ago
Hmm.
where they put out like Chronicle EPs and then shoved them into like an album, but they changed
Hmm.
like the ordering of the track listing so it was more like a better flow, I guess. So yeah, it seems like that's kind of the way forward.
I think it just works better for my brain specifically because, like, when I'm doing like solo stuff aside from the band, it's all just so thrown together, like on the fly. Not like that I don't put thought into it or anything like that, but like I almost prefer like the chaos and like, you know what I mean? Like we just got to figure this out. Like, let's do what we got to do. Like, and hopefully it comes together, and it always does, like in a cool way, rather than overthinking everything for like a year in advance and like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It just feels so much more interactive and cool and like, I don't know. Again, I could just be saying this just because it's different than what we've been doing, and it's always like putting out albums has always felt so corporate and just like mundane and stuff. But
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. This I would do this for the rest of my life if I could. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed. Hopefully this does great and we can just keep doing it.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
even
with
just like
God, sorry.
maybe even just like shorter EP, like six to, even longer EPs, shorter EPs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, just anything to like, or even just EPs in between album cycles, stuff like that. I just like the constant flow of things coming out. I hate waiting 2 to 3 years to put out new music. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
playing those songs forever, and the songs get so burnt out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This keeps it. Yeah, that's another thing worth bringing up too, like the whole live aspect of it. Any tour that we've done for the last almost 2.5 years now, we've had brand new songs to play every tour, and it's just like, God, this is so fresh and so much more fun. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
I can't think of a downside at all. It's been awesome all the way through.
Yeah, instead of having
Yeah,
to wait like a year or however long the album gets forwarded to the label and then it actually gets
yeah,
released. You don't have to wait that whole time. You can just put the EP
dude.
out
Yeah,
and then two or three songs. Then next tour, another two or three songs we can play with here, and yeah,
dude. By the time a record is out, like most of the time, I'm already sick of half if not all of the songs. You know what I mean? Because I've been hearing this thing for a year, sometimes 2 years, and then it's got to be out for 2 years before we can put it out. You know what I mean? It's just,
yeah,
I don't know. It's too much waiting. I like to just keep stuff pumping out.
yeah. I guess it's just like an album is a different beast to like EPs. Like even with you mentioned like your solo stuff. Like if you look at the AI 640 EP stuff that you did. Like that was like a concept that you just dragged through like a few years and stuff like that. And like
Yeah,
that's just a wild concept to begin with. So
yeah, it's fun, and this is just kind of like, I guess, an extension of that. Like that's something I've just been doing like with my solo stuff for so long. That, and I like doing it that way. So I'm again, like, I can't say it enough. I'm just so grateful it actually is working out, and people are the team is stoked. Fans seem to be relatively stoked. So yeah,
and you're
it's good.
stoked. So
I'm very stoked. I couldn't be happier.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it seems over the years as well, like the past few years since COVID, I guess, is you guys have seen some success on TikTok. Like, your song Forgotten that bit kind of went
Mhm.
viral, and then obviously Feel Nothing went viral with like athletes for some reason, which seemed a bit out of pocket,
Very,
but I mean, I wasn't mad about it.
yeah,
Um,
very weird.
and then it wasn't until TikTok that I discovered that you guys made Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh yeah. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
The whole TikTok thing is crazy. I didn't really even realize I didn't realize how much like Feel Nothing was catching on until some of my more like normie friends, I guess, people that aren't even remotely into scene music, metal music, anything like that, started like sending me stuff like gymnasts and like athletes, like you said, weightlifters, even just super bizarre stuff all across the board. Started sending me stuff, and I was like, oh damn. And then think it was Jake Paul made a video to
Oh,
it
really?
first, some I don't know, some goofy video. But yeah, it was so out of the blue, so out of nowhere. But I mean, it was cool. I think it definitely gave our band kind of a second wind coming out of COVID. Because I was writing Swan Song during most of COVID, and I might have talked about this in another interview or something, but I'm not sure. I was kind of like viewing that record as almost like I don't really care if this is the last one. You know what I mean? I got so into producing and songwriting during COVID, like fell in love with it because I finally had a good chunk of time
Yeah.
fully get back into it. I was like, if this is our last record, I'm fine with it. Which I felt that way about a couple other records of
Is that
ours.
why you called
Just
it
kind of
Swan
like
Song then? Because
maybe subconsciously there's other context to that though, like thematically, I guess, and in the lyrics that also tie in other ways, at least from my viewpoint, I guess. But yeah, that was also totally fine if that would have also have been the last thing. But yeah, Feel Nothing kind of carried us over through COVID, and even after that, it was like we had a tour, our first tour out of COVID. We're like, let's go see like how things translate, live, like if it's actually impacted like on a larger scale, if and it did. It was crazy. The crowds were wild and stuff like that, and I think that kind of gave us all a second wind. Like, okay, I think we could still keep doing this for a little bit longer. And yeah, one thing led to another. Started doing the singles; those started working out. So I feel like it's every time I'm like one step away from being like, all right, I'm ready to go to the next thing. Like
yeah,
something just happens and it kind of like pushes us back and like,
reel you
nope,
back
not
in.
yet.
Yeah.
We got a couple more things to do. So,
Yeah.
but I'm grateful for it. I mean, I'm in a band with some of my best friends, and I've been, we've been touring in the same scene for 50, I'm almost 16 years in. So almost every tour we do, it's like there's almost always another band I've toured with before that I've become friends with. So it's always just a big hangout.
Mm.
Overall, I'm just very fortunate that
Yeah.
still get to keep doing this into my mid 30s. It's crazy. I
Yeah,
didn't think that
definitely.
would be a thing.
Yeah, it's like a dream job for most people. Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, I'm definitely like, especially the last few years, I've been trying to take a step back and appreciate it a bit more. I think before COVID, it started to get a little bit too much. Like I said earlier, kind of like started to feel like work. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, not that that's a bad thing by any means, but it didn't. It kind of lost its spark. I think COVID gave us a really good opportunity to step back and like realize how cool and this is, and like what a privilege it is. And now like coming back to it, with this second wind and like kind of almost like an entirely new a huge new addition to our fan base. It's been really really cool, and yeah, I just feel very fortunate, and again, just feel crazy that I'm still doing it into my mid 30s. I didn't think I'd
Yeah.
be almost 35 years old still screaming.
Well, people like it
But
clearly.
yeah, it's cool, whatever.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, no, it's been
we
dope.
we briefly mentioned, solo material earlier. Have you got anything like working behind the scenes? I know you've dropped like a few singles over the past couple of years, haven't you? But I don't know. Are you just focusing, almost primarily on plotting new stuff right now?
Yeah, honestly, almost more on like other projects and other bands than even Plot as of like this year. I've taken on quite a bit of other work. I've been doing some stuff with this band called Acres. You're probably familiar with them. They're
Yeah.
from out in the UK. Invent Anime, been doing stuff with them. Just a bunch of bands like in our scene that I've been friends with. I've been doing a lot of co-writes and stuff like that. So that's kind of been my main focus the last year and a half, um, which I think I've enjoyed almost as much, if not more, in some cases, than writing my own stuff. It's just nice to not have to like overthink things. It's like it's their thing. So if they
Yeah.
don't like my idea or whatever, let's just move on to the next thing. I don't get married to things. Like I get a little too in my head with my own stuff sometimes to where I can start annoying myself essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been fun. I've done a little bit of writings for like solo stuff off and on, but it's not like a huge priority right now. I think I'm gonna wait till the next, like maybe next year when I get a good chunk of time off to just like refresh and like I don't know. Maybe I'll probably just need like a month or two away from music in general to kind of like come up with anything to even talk about. You know what I mean? Doing the same, like sitting in front of a computer and playing, like writing music so much can kind of almost like take away from your actual human experience. Like
Yeah.
at this point in my life, I genuinely don't know what I would write a song about. Like right now, I have
Yeah.
no idea what I could write about. It's just not just yeah, it's just been in work mode. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think I just need a refresher.
So what do you kind of do then to kind of when you do get in those kind of situations where you need to disconnect from music a little bit, like do you
Yeah,
what do you do away from music?
it's hard to say. I mean, last like 2 years, I'll just instead of like writing something for myself, I'll just write something for somebody else. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's which honestly I've realized I definitely need more hobbies. I don't really have anything outside of music. My wife reminds me all the time that I need to do something else. Uh, yeah, I pretty much my only other hobbies are just like walking my dogs and like cooking and I don't know, just really mundane, boring shit that is not worth talking about.
You're a good cook.
Yeah, yeah, I'm decent. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not too bad, but yeah, I've definitely felt a need to. I need to get into like golf or something like that.
Okay.
Or oh, shooting pool. That's what I've been pretty into that
Oh,
actually
okay.
the last year or so. That's yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite pastime outside of doing music.
Right.
I can get lost in that for a few hours, but I don't have a healthy balance work life balance by any means. It's very unhealthy.
Well, I guess it's because you enjoy doing it so much, so it's kind of
I
hard
do.
to
Yeah.
disconnect from it, right?
Dude, sometimes I just like even after I'll have a band over for like 8 to 10 hours sometimes, and even after they leave, I just like I'll go grab a snack and just go right back to it just because I'm like I don't know what else to do. Like my
Yeah.
brain is already in this frequency, like kind of just want to stick with it. And I think it's been, for the most part, I think it's been pretty good. I've learned a lot working with so many of these different bands and artists, and I guess I sometimes I just get so inspired, like I just don't want to put it down. It's like
Yeah.
it can become really really addicting, but yeah, too much of anything, even a good thing, can be bad at a certain point. But
Yeah.
that this month I've definitely been trying to take a step back and
Yeah.
relax more, just spend more time with my lady and my dogs, and just like not look at the computer.
To try
You
and be
know,
more present, I suppose. Yeah.
yes, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
trying. I'm really, really trying, and
Yeah. Do you ever get that
it's
thing where you like
slowly.
you're so focused on it that I don't know, like 4, 5 hours go by and you're like, I've not eaten in the past like 5 hours.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
all the time. Not. It's just like that's normal at this point. Dude, sometimes I'll lay in bed and I'll just be like envisioning like my mix, like and how I like tomorrow I'm gonna go in, and I'll just like lay up for hours and just like picture dials, and it's stupid. Yeah.
You really do live the music.
I do, man. It's
Yeah.
yeah, to my own detriment, but it's all right.
Yeah.
It's been a very positive thing in my life, and I just feel again eternally grateful that I have gotten to make this my career. So yeah, I'm just trying to be honestly, I just getting leveling up in any capacity, whether that being songwriting, mixing, anything. Anytime I feel like I've made even the slightest improvement, it's just like I don't know, it's a rush of dopamine that I don't really get from anything else. So
Yeah. So you just
yeah,
keep chasing it. Yeah.
so I just keep doing it.
Yeah.
We'll see how that affects me in 10 years, but
Yeah.
for now I'm having a good time, so
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
So when you do like co-write or you produce for other bands, like you say you've been working with Acres for a bit recently, and I think you've worked with like Until I Wake and a few bands like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Do they ever like influence you in terms of like when you're writing stuff for plot or you're writing solo stuff or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think especially Invent, they the way that they write is really, really unique. They kind of like do this thing where they throw everything at the wall and then like peel back what doesn't need to be there after. So like sometimes they'll have just like random riffs or like just parts that just go on too long sometimes. Hopefully they don't hate me for saying this, but yeah, but it's good though. It's like they get almost every idea out and then just slowly like trim the fat away from that. Um, I think I've adapted a little bit of that into my workflow. I think I like have started trying almost too many ideas sometimes, and then yeah, like just scaling it back and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, even down to just like the way guitar players play riffs, you know what I mean? Or like go about like thinking about how they're going to lead into the next section of something, just like different approaches and stuff like that. Yes, a lot of the times that can be like really inspiring to me to just like I've started doing this thing where I'll write like a drum part for the part after whatever I have is done. I'll just write the drums, what I think the drums should do for the next part, and sometimes as opposed to like writing the guitar, just flipping different things around, like what you would normally approach in a section leading after a current section.
Yeah.
Just as something as simple as that sometimes can really help out. Um, yeah, where I did a couple sessions with Silent Planet last year, and just dude, watching that guitar player, Mitch, dude, he's just crazy. He's just a riff machine, and just like getting to observe the way that he attacks writing songs and structuring things is really cool. Just to like pick his brain on that, and yeah, I mean, I feel like almost every single band, even if it's one or two like tiny little things, yeah, I almost always pick up on something that is useful in the future, whether that be for myself or something that I could help pass on to somebody else. Like, oh, I tried this with them, it worked, maybe it'll work for you, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's such a cool privilege just getting to, I mean, again, like these are already friends, so just getting to find an excuse to hang out with your friends and sit and make music is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you mentioned it before. Do you kind of get like in a different headspace then when you're writing music for other people and as opposed to yourself? Because I think you've said in interviews I mean, you mentioned Swan Song a little earlier that you kind of maybe hyper fixated on songs maybe a little too much. And I guess
Yeah.
maybe you're willing to let things go a little bit more with when you're working with other bands.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I always view myself as, I guess, more of like a tool to just be at their disposal. Like I don't let ego get involved in my writing sessions with anybody else. I definitely did like in my earlier days, like I really felt like I knew best, and like it would kind of, I'm not necessarily like cross lines, but like be a little bit more pushy on like, no, but like I think it'd be perfect. Like these days, I don't care. If you don't like my idea, that doesn't hurt my feelings at all. Let's explore a bunch of different options, and maybe in the end it'll come back and we'll land on my idea. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Or maybe somebody else will come up with something way cooler than what I did. But like, I feel like the second you just like push ego out of the way, it's just so much more enjoyable for everybody. Nobody feels like, they're being talked over, like their feelings get hurt because nobody's taking them seriously. Like, I will legitimately try anything with any band, like as far creatively that they want to try. And it's fun. Like, it's just, getting to explore tons of different ways of doing things. And yeah, I mean, like, there's no hard feelings if everyone goes into it with the same mindset that we're just trying to make the coolest thing possible. And like, again, ego's out of the way. It's like 100% success rate.
Yeah.
So yeah, but again, yeah, well, going back to your question, I do feel like it's more enjoyable because I'm not as married to it, and it's not like as like personal. It's not my story, it's
Yeah.
theirs. But like with my stuff, it's definitely, I do over uh criticize myself on stupid things that probably don't matter. I do think I am making progress in that front. um I think I'm getting better at just like letting things flow and not overthinking things. Can always come back to things. It's a computer, things can be deleted, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, But yeah, that was a hard thing to learn, and it's something I'm still practicing and trying to get better about, just letting things flow and happen naturally. But yeah, I think I think at least right now in my life, I've been enjoying writing with other people at least a little bit more,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just the atmosphere of having other people kind of like building each other up. You know, you bounce off other people's energy and vibes and stuff like that. But when it's just me, when it's me writing for a plot, it's literally just me in a room with a laptop. So I kind of got
Yeah.
to
So I
be
guess
my
you
own
can
hype man. And
overthink stuff a little bit because it's just you and
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But yeah, I think it's slowly turning into something that's like, I think I went through some ups and downs with it, like some phases where it was like I just never wanted to write, but I think I'm finally, especially like, with these EPs and stuff, I think I'm coming around to like really starting to love writing again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stoked. I'm stoked. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you mainly work with like, heavier bands and bands in the scene. Is there any kind of, I guess, genre of music or kind of artist that you would like to work with that's kind of away from that, like within the world of like pop and R&B and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, dude, to be honest, I would love to have some kind of breakthrough in the pop world. Like, I love writing pop music. Um, it's a really tough industry to crack into, though. It's kind of like you just got to know the right people or just get, a lucky break, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, hopefully one day. I mean, I do get to work on some like more pop influence type stuff every now and then.
Hmm.
Some of my clients are trying to move more in that direction. But yeah, I mean, there's an artist called Noga Erez. I think she's from Israel. She does like really cool, unique, like bizarre pop type stuff. With a lot of like natural instruments and stuff like that. It's kind of like a perfect blend of real and like and pop, like sample type stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to work with someone like her. But yeah, honestly, any kind of like pop artist, I would just love to find even just one that can kind of just be my baby, and I can kind of like grow with a new project and kind of move into that world. I would love that so much because
Yeah.
it's, yeah, like I said, it's just such a blast. I love getting to focus more on melody and like prettier sounds rather than just like nasty gritty stuff all the time, which it's fun. I do like doing metal and more like rock type stuff. It's a blast. But yeah, I'd like to vary my clientele as much as possible. So yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see.
Any pop artists listening? Get in touch. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Please.
Um, well, I mean, you're obviously constantly busy. Do you ever have an issue with your scheduling, like plotting new stuff and getting other bands in to work with and touring and all that kind of stuff? Do you ever have issues kind of managing everything?
Yeah, my biggest issue is myself and my own like, well, yeah, just like planning things out correctly. And I'm
Yeah.
really bad at saying no, especially to friends. Yeah, if a friend hits me up, especially like a friend's band that we've toured with, it's like next to impossible for me to say no because I want to take on everything. I really want to be involved in as many projects as possible just because I love it. But I'm getting better at it for sure. But I mean, luckily, like tour kind of forces me to break things up because there's only so much I can do on tour. So my time off of tour, I try to set a specific time just for like plot writing or whatever, and then yeah, just work with. Luckily I have the guy that manages plot. He also has been helping me, and our A&R at Fearless has also been helping me schedule things out. So they've been kind of keeping me in check a little bit more.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it would be a frantic mess, and I'd be miserable all the time. But yeah, I'm slowly getting better at it. But yeah, it can be a little hard, but you also have to keep in mind I don't like work a 9 to 5 on top of it.
Yeah.
It's my only job, so it's like it is still like in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty leisurely. I can control when I want to do things and not for the most part. So,
Yeah.
but I like to stay busy. I kind of go crazy when I'm not. So
Yeah.
even this month, I told myself I'm going to take most of August off, and I've still just been saying yes to little things here and there just to kind of keep my mind busy. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. Like you just
it's
want to
cool.
keep your hands on something, right? Like you don't want to get bored.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude, I don't get vacations. I can't, I start getting really antsy, and I just can't enjoy myself for long periods of time taking time off. I sit down to like even try to play a video game. Sometimes I'm just like fidgeting, like gotta do something productive. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
At
Well,
least I get to
speaking of
do a
like,
job that I enjoy.
sorry, say again.
At least I get to do something I enjoy. So,
Yeah, yeah, there's
yeah,
that corny saying, isn't it? Like if you do a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So
yeah, yeah, that's very, very true.
yeah. Well,
For sure.
speaking of like scheduling, you've got plenty of touring still coming up. So you've got like a UK and European tour in September, and then I think in November
Hmm.
you've got a US tour, and
Hmm.
then I think towards the end of the year you're going to South America. I'm doing a few dates with Bring Me, which will be wild.
Crazy.
How are
Yeah.
you feeling about all that?
Really good. I'm stoked for Europe because we haven't done Europe since before COVID. So it's been like six, maybe seven, yeah, probably like 6 years, something like that. So that's a long time of not going there. And honestly, I think I've said this before. We've never done good in Europe ever. Maybe like a couple select markets we did okay, but for the most part, it's like kind of been beaten down by it. Just like why it's not clicking in this country in this land at all.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, to see the shows are selling out and doing really well is kind of like holy shit, that's crazy. We thought that this was just never going to be our market, and we're just always going to have to skip over it. But yeah, it's going to be cool. And then yeah, I'm doing Acres. I'm doing their album in October, so it'll be going from touring with Acres into doing Acres album into the U.S. tour. So pretty much, I don't get any time off almost for the rest of the year. So that's like that's a little bit concerning,
yeah,
but I think I'll be fine. I think I'll get through it, and then
yeah,
hopefully next year we'll have a decent chunk of time off to kind of recoup and get our minds right. But
it'll
yeah,
be
the shows that bring me, I think, are pretty insane. I can't believe that that actually happened. That's a band that I think all of us can agree that we've wanted to tour with pretty much since we started. You know, I've been a huge fan of pretty much everything they've done, like since the start. I've always thought that they were really innovative and just like genre, like pushing the genre forward. So it'll be. I, I'm probably gonna watch them every single night that we're out there with them. So
yeah,
genuinely very, very excited. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well, it
probably
seems
the
like
biggest shows we'll ever play too.
yeah, yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
insane, man. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it seems like chilling out isn't included in this, but what else have you got planned for 2024?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Just this shit. Just a
Yeah.
whole bunch of this. No, I'm gonna try. I'm trying to find a house right now that I can build a studio onto. So I need to find a good plot of land. That's been a big dream of mine for probably the last 15, 16 years is getting to build out a proper studio with like a live room and tons of space, like a place where bands can come and actually just like spread out. Nobody has to be cluttered into one tiny room to do things, you know what I mean? It can be like a space that's just delegated for creativity and also feel kind of like a retreat from whatever else they got going on in their life. Something that, something that's just a really nice spot to be in to make something cool. So
Yeah.
I'm praying I can find the right piece of land and the right people, the right team to make it all happen by the end of the year. But again, fingers crossed. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Fingers crossed, dude. Have you got
Yeah.
a name you want to give the studio once you've finally got that dream?
No, I haven't thought of that yet. I need to. That's a good thought though. I should probably start brainstorming that for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited. God, dude, I've wanted that for so long. I'm just like I can picture it in my head.
Yeah.
I need to make it happen.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed we get it sooner rather than later, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah. Well, Landon, thanks very much for speaking to me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it sounds
Absolutely,
like
dude.
you've got loads of things on your plate, but I'm sure it's all going to go great.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, before I let you go and enjoy the rest of the day, any final
thank you.
words, anything you want to say or plug? Floor's yours.
Are you coming to any of the UK shows?
I wanted to come to the UK shows, but I'm going to be on holiday when you're here.
That's bullshit.
I fucked up, man.
You should, yeah, you should cancel it. No, I'm sure we'll be back around.
Yeah, fingers
But
crossed.
yeah, as far as things to plug, not that I can think of, just the tours we got coming up. If you're able to make it out, try to come out. We're doing a lot of cool stuff production wise that we've never done before. We put a lot of work into our live show and making it something special, something that we've not really been able to do in the past. So yeah, I think it's going to be really cool playing a lot of songs, old and new. So should be really fun. I would definitely encourage anyone to try to make it out. The bands that are on the shows for the rest of this year are all awesome too, and very much worth checking out. So
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
should be dope. Yeah,
Well, thanks, Landon. Really appreciate it.
thanks,
Yeah,
man. Appreciate it.
hopefully I'll see you next time you're in the UK because
Yeah,
I've been meaning to see you guys for a while and it's just never happened, and this has happened
yeah,
again. So,
for sure.
yeah, hopefully I see you soon, dude.
We'll make it happen. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, of
Appreciate it very much.
course, man. Yeah, take care of
Yep.
yourself.
Take care. Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media, and maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.